Ladies and gentlemen, it's skirmish season. It's Blitz time again. Blitz skirmish seasons are happening everywhere. Skirmishes are happening everywhere. And you know what? I think I'm going to tell you how I feel about Blitz right now. I feel good about Blitz right now. And there's a lot of different heroes that I feel are really viable because of the changes in Blitz. First of all, Viserai is not a thing anymore. In Blitz. Viserai was pretty strong. I don't know if you knew this in the previous Blitz season. Pretty strong. Living legended out of the Blitz meta. And then they went the step further is LSS, and they took away Crown of Seeds, making me so happy because now Oldhim has been brought down a peg. Sort of more, I guess, within the range of like that A tier, S tier. Hey, if you want to see me do like a tier list for the Blitz meta, by the way, is like ton of Blitz heroes. That's actually like a big ask, and to be pretty accurate on that, it's kind of tough. But if you want to see that, let me know in a comment below. I'm gonna today tell you 5 heroes that I think are probably at the top of the Blitz meta. And I do think this, I want to be very specific. I think there's actually more than 5 heroes that are at the top of the meta, and I think there's this beautiful coalescence towards that top. So again, if I were to make a tier list, be a lot of these good heroes up there, but I'm going to pick 5, and these 5 I think have a really good shot to do well, but also if you're going to play in a Blitz skirmish, you're going to see these 5. So let's begin with, oh, there it goes, yeah. The transition hits us, and Kaisa is here. Kaisa is a fantastic hero, one that I was very happy to spoil the specialization for, and that card, along with some of the other tools that we recently got, in the Dorinthia Rhinar Classic Battle set, that has catapulted Kaisa to like new heights. It's just a fantastic thing because I enjoy Kaisa. I think it's a really cool play style. It just feels exactly like, to me, what a warrior should be, but it's also very powerful. And the blood on her hands combo being like this big finisher that your opponent just sees on the table and just can't deal with, versus just playing just sword swing and then reprise effects, or sword swing and then like dance around effects, like go wide effects. All of these things mean you have a flexible hero that can pivot between go tall, go wide, and just overall overwhelming damage. And that is what is making Kaisa, in my mind, a very powerful and a very prevalent hero currently in the meta. And I do want to point this out. This is in no particular order as I talk about these heroes. I'm just talking about 5 heroes that I think are really towards that top of the tier list if we were putting a tier list together. And Kaisa, to me, is one of them. If you haven't sat down to a Kaisa, I would sit down with a player, play against Kaisa, and learn what she does. Maybe play her yourself and figure out how to play against it, how to play with it, so that you're ready to go into a skirmish season, because you're gonna see Kaisa. She's just too popular now. Before, like Everfest and Blood on her hands, she was like this really cool, like Dark Horse fringe hero that had some play, sometimes fell a little bit short, but you could do some like cool stuff with copper and that sort of stuff. Now she's just an absolute bomb. And it is because she's an absolute bomb she's going to get played, and she's really good. So pick her up if you want to play a really cool hero that is doing very well. Next up is Dash. Believe it or not, I actually think like just boost Dash is super good. Is super good in this meta. Not only that, I think boost Dash is good into specific heroes in this meta. Not because there's like this prevalent of on-hit effects, but just because it can push over breakpoint damage and go ridiculously wide doing so. Dash in the boost form reminds me so much of like Herald Prism without the downside. And in a format where you're playing against heroes that range from 15 to 20 health, that's like a turn and a half of damage with Dash. If your opponent is just committing to blocking and you're just committing to pushing all of this damage, more often than not, depending on the hero, you can just get over that damage. And in a format that's very swingy and fast, where you just jam fast, fun games, Dash is probably one of the faster heroes in the format, period, end of story. In the game, she's one of the faster heroes in the game, and she's gotten some powerful stuff in Everfest that helped push that over the edge, boosting just crazy amounts of damage and then ending with like dominated attacks is very good. And she has the capability of going toe-to-toe with just about any other hero in the game. And before, she was sort of being pulled down to some degree by Oldhim, and now that Oldhim can't really go Crown of Seeds, float 2 resources for like some possible like defense reaction stuff, and then have a 5-card hand, because that's not a thing anymore, now Oldhim has to respect a little bit of this over-the-top damage and retool the deck in general. And so if that was theoretically one of her worst matchups, now it's gotten easier. There's space for Dash, and I do think she's going to be very good. Now, the question is, how many people are going to commit to playing Dash, and how many people are going to do it well? Because there are some little intricacies and things you have to think about, and there are some matchup-dependent things. But if they do show up, they can show out. Now we come to my favorite hero in the game, Kano. I still think Kano is one of the top heroes in the meta. Why? Because he can count to 20 faster than anybody else, period, end of story. He can do it on turn 0. There are a few other heroes that can do that. One of them is not on this list. By the way, I'm just going to say it. I think Fi is really good, but I didn't put him on this list because I wanted to pick 5, because 5's a good number for YouTube. You're welcome. Kano is still really good. Yes, I know Oasis Respite is a thing. Yes, I know Guardians still have access to Steadfast. But Guardians got a little worse because Oldhim got a little worse. And I'm not going to lie, if you just factor out Steadfast for a moment, which is still a good card and still playable into Kano, literally removing Crown of Seeds from that matchup makes it so much more, I don't want to say favorable, so much more playable as Kano because of the way that hand manipulation worked in that matchup. When they arsenal a card, they're setting up a card for they're setting up a 5-card hand with Crown of Seeds and floating 2 resources for like Arcane Barrier prevention. Now they can't do that. Yes, they can run another Null Rune piece, like they can run the Null Rune Hood. That's fine, but their hand is not going to be 5 cards, right? And that's what's really impactful in this matchup. So I think for Kano, it's a really deceptively okay spot to be in, because that matchup was by far the worst. Yes, every other hero in the game now has access to Oasis Respite. If you're not running Oasis Respite in this format, Kano can prey on you, period, end of story. If you are running Oasis Respite in this format, Kano can still do some things to try and get that card out of your hand, and he can even kill you without you, expecting it by, I'm going to hold this card and wait until the moment when they play the Wildfire, and then I'll stop Kano and I'll win the game. Maybe. Or maybe he goes Sonic Boom into something else, into Blazing. Like, that could also just kill you outright, and you may not even expect it. So there's very interesting prospects. Even though it doesn't look on paper as powerful for Kano, I still think he's got what it takes to be top tier. Okay, I cheated a little bit. Okay, look, I cheated. I think Dorinthia and Dorinthia are both really good. That's 3 warriors on this list. Where's Bolton? Sorry, Bolton, you're not quite on this list. Though I will say this, I do think Blitz Bolton has some place. I just want to say, both Dorinthia Quicksilver Prodigy and Dorinthia are, as always, poised well in this meta. And again, because Oldhim comes down, I think all of these other heroes rise, right? I think this is sort of like a buoy system where like it kind of does one of these things. Dorinthia is always good. And in fact, I always point this out. In Blitz, Kano and Dorinthia feel the same to me. They both play in these squeaky, greasy spots, right? They both play in this timing window that isn't quite fair, but it is fair because it's part of the rules. Dorinthia does it with attack reactions, so you can't add blocks from your hand, right? Kano does it at instant speed, so he does it on your turn. Either way, what they're doing is they're saying the terms of engagement, and then they're changing the terms of engagement after the fact. And that is really powerful in this game. In a game that's sort of back and forth, I block, you block, I try to keep cards in hand to provide some sort of a counter threat and try to swing tempo. In a game like that, being able to set the terms of engagement at I will present this much damage, and then change those completely by like 2 cards and like 10 points of damage, that is a powerful thing. And I think it's gotten even better with the additions of the Dorinthia Classic Battles cards, the specialization, but even just like the ancillary cards that add Go Again or things like that, the attack reactions, just all of the things that she had access to in that Classic Battle set are just pushing her up ever so slightly. And that's what's cool about both versions of Dorinthia. And both versions are already putting up wins. And if you don't know how to play against Dorinthia, same thing with Kaisa, you just need to learn how to do it. It's true of really all of these heroes, but I would say to a great degree, like Dorinthia and Kano. And then finally, there's one hero left on my list, and it's Icelander. Icelander is tight. Icelander's cool. Icelander is so much fun now. Icelander was fun before, and Icelander is even more fun now. Okay, so why is Icelander on this list? Well, before, Icelander was actually just this Dark Horse meta top hero that could just do insane things that people weren't prepared for. And now that she is a mainline hero in the game, people are more prepared and understand what she can do. But the deck has completely changed thanks to all the class cards and the talent cards that she got access to. And it changed in a fundamental way that you don't have to play into these fire-breathing OTKs anymore. You don't have to necessarily play a hybrid where you play attacks and non-attacks. You can do all of those things, though. But she can also just get super huge value off of Waning Moon and off of the hero power of just being able to play blues on your opponent's turn at instant speed and then Waning Moon after that. You combine that with just raw arcane damage that people, again, have to pitch to stop and have to give up value equipment just to be able to stop. And then you have on-hit effects. And then you have disruption effects. And then you have the possibility that you could be playing some sort of a hybrid build. People just can't cover all the bases. In a format where you can't sideboard, there are too many ways that Icelander can be built for one single deck to really cover all of them. And it is for that reason that she is one of the most powerful decks, possibly the most powerful deck in the format. That remains to be seen, but it's possible because she's so flexible. She has very powerful card pool. She can play them at instant speed in weird, greasy lines of play, as Mr. Flake likes to say. She's just really, really good. And if you're a good Icelander player, and if you have a thoughtful deck and you know how to pilot it in Blitz, you can win events. By the way, if you want to get my deck list, my Blitz deck list for this season for Icelander, that video will go up later this week. And if you're a patron, you'll get access to the deck guide that I'm going to write out, as well as the deck itself. I do that for patrons because they support. It takes a lot of time to kind of really weigh these options and build these decks and then consider and then make the video and that sort of thing. So I very much appreciate all those people up there for supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments which of these heroes you think is the best. And if you think I left someone off this list, one hero that you think stands above them all, tell me in a comment below because I want to know your opinion and I want to know what you're playing for this skirmish season. If you're going and like jamming Blitz games and you want to pick up wins and you want to win that sick looking playmat, that Aether Ashwing, like black Aether Ashwing playmat, oh, it looks so good. Let me know what you're going to play in a comment below. Make the number go to the other number and we'll hit 10K and then I will open expensive cards. As always, thanks for watching.